Imagine a continent nearly as big as the United States, yet almost entirely empty. Vast deserts, silent plains, and endless red earth stretch as far as the eye can see. Roads that lead nowhere. Ghost towns with barely a few hundred people. Rivers that shimmer and then vanish into salt flats. While the rest of the world is bursting at the seams, cities stacking upward, highways jammed with millions, Australia feels like a forgotten world. From above, the coastline glows with life. But venture inland, and you'll find a land where time stands still, where nature reigns and humans are merely visitors. It's not just unpopulated, it's one of the emptiest inhabited continents on Earth. How did a land so massive, so resource-rich, end up with barely 27 million people hugging its edges, while 95% of it remains untouched? This is GeoMap Unveiled, and welcome to our new video, where we'll be revealing 9 fascinating facts behind why 95% of Australia is empty. Fact 1. The population paradox. Big land, tiny numbers. Australia is enormous, roughly the same size as the continental United States. Yet, its entire population is smaller than that of Texas and California combined. Just 2 US states could easily outnumber the entire Australian continent. Even England, smaller than New York State, has more than double the population. And Japan, an island chain smaller than Western Australia, is home to over 125 million people. Meanwhile, Australia's 26 million are spread thinner than anywhere else in the developed world. 7 islands on Earth, like Java, Honshu, and even Madagascar, have more people than the entire Australian continent. Cities like Tokyo, Jakarta, and Delhi each have populations larger than all of Australia combined. It's an enormous modern country, with the population density of the moon. In fact, if you spread Australians evenly across their land mass, each person would get more than 3 square kilometers to themselves. But why are so few people living in such a massive modern nation? Could a single continent really be that hostile? Fact 2. The coastal trap. Life at the edge. Here's the shocking part. Nearly 85% of Australians live within just 50 kilometers of the ocean. The rest of the land? Mostly empty. Australia is one of the most urbanized nations on Earth. Not because it's filled with cities, but because everyone crowds into a handful of them. Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, and Adelaide hold almost 2/3 of the population. The rest of the map looks like a blank canvas. The Shire of East Pilbara in Western Australia is about the size of Japan, yet home to just 10,000 people. Half of those live in a single mining town. The pastoral unincorporated area in South Australia is nearly the size of France, but has fewer than 4,000 residents. And then, there's Anna Creek Station, a cattle ranch larger than Israel, staffed by only 8 people. Just imagine, driving across land bigger than a country, without seeing another soul for hours. It's not that Australians don't want to live inland. It's that the land itself seems to push back. Brutal heat, little water, and no infrastructure make expansion nearly impossible. Fact 3. The deserted heart. Geography that repels life. At the core of this mystery lies the land itself. Australia is the driest inhabited continent on Earth. Roughly 70% of it is arid or semi-arid, dominated by deserts like the Simpson, the Gibson, and the Great Victoria. The interior, often called the outback, receives less than 10 inches of rainfall per year. Temperatures can reach 50 degrees Celsius, that's over 120 degrees Fahrenheit, during summer. The land cracks, vegetation dies, and waterholes disappear. Why? Because of Australia's ancient geography. The continent has been geologically stable for millions of years, meaning its mountains have eroded, its soils are nutrient poor, and there's little elevation to trigger rainfall. The Great Dividing Range on the east blocks moist Pacific air, creating a massive rain shadow. The cold West Australian current cools the air over the ocean, suppressing rain along the west coast. Combine that with global high-pressure zones that dry out the air year-round, and you've got the perfect formula for emptiness. Even rivers like the famous Todd River in Alice Springs flow only a few days per year. Locals even hold an annual boat race in the dry riverbed. Australia's interior isn't just uninhabited, it's uninhabitable. Would you dare to build a life in the middle of this fiery emptiness? Act 4. A land starved of water. If geography is the skeleton, then water is the blood Australia lacks. The continent's river systems are tiny compared to its size. The Murray-Darling Basin, its largest and most important, carries only about 5% of the Mississippi River's flow. It supports a third of Australia's food supply, yet it's constantly under stress. Droughts regularly dry up entire sections of the river. Farmers fight for water rights, and cities compete for supply. Australia's rainfall is wildly unpredictable. A wet year can flood the coasts, while the next year can bring drought so severe that entire lakes vanish. The culprit? The El Niño Southern Oscillation, a climate cycle that flips the continent from wet to dry with little warning. Even the groundwater isn't a savior. The Great Artesian Basin, one of the largest underground water systems in the world, is deep, hot, and often too salty to drink. It keeps livestock alive, but it's not enough to sustain millions of people inland. Australia's farmers are some of the toughest in the world, turning dust into production, but they're always one drought away from disaster. Fact 5. Ancient soils, harsh reality. Even if Australia had more water, the land itself is a problem. Its soils are some of the oldest and most infertile on Earth. Over hundreds of millions of years without glaciation or major mountain renewal, nutrients have been washed away or locked deep underground. In short, most of Australia's land can't grow much of anything. Only about 6% of it is considered arable. Compare that to the United States, where over 40% of land can support crops. Farmers in northern Australia deal with iron-rich laterite soils that turn to rock when dry. In central regions, it's pure sand. Even advanced irrigation and fertilizers can't fully overcome this natural disadvantage. That's why Australian agriculture focuses on livestock over crops. Cattle and sheep grazing vast territories. The result? The world's largest farms, often run by just a handful of people using aircraft to monitor herds across hundreds of kilometers. It's farming on a scale few people can even imagine. And it only works because of modern technology. Fact 6. History that shaped the desert nation. Australia's emptiness didn't start with colonization. It's ancient. Aboriginal Australians have lived here for over 50,000 years, mastering the art of survival in every corner of the continent. Through seasonal migration, water mapping, and controlled burns, they thrived where others would perish. But when Europeans arrived in 1788, they weren't ready for such an alien landscape. Used to England's mild rains and fertile soil, early settlers struggled. Crops failed. Wells ran dry, and journeys into the interior were deadly. Even the gold rush of the 1850s couldn't populate the inland for long. Most miners stayed near the coasts, or moved on when the boom ended. The rest of the land remained a giant, unclaimed void. For much of the 20th century, Australia actively limited immigration with the White Australia policy, keeping population growth slow until the 1970s. Today, Australia welcomes migrants from all over the world. But even with steady growth, most people still cluster along the eastern and southern coasts. Would Australia look completely different today if its early settlers had adapted to its deserts instead of fighting them? Fact 7. Modern paradox. Wealth without crowds. Here's the twist. Despite being 95% empty, Australia is one of the wealthiest nations on Earth. Its vast emptiness hides immense resources: iron ore, gold, coal, natural gas, and uranium. The outback may look barren, but beneath it lies an empire of minerals powering global industries. Mining towns like Kalgoorlie and Port Hedland might be isolated, but they produce billions in exports every year. The Pilbara region alone fuels much of China's steel industry. And yet, this success reinforces the emptiness. These towns exist for work, not for life. Once the mines close, they fade back into desert silence. Australia has learned to extract wealth from the land without ever truly conquering it. Fact 8. Climate change and the future of emptiness. As climate change accelerates, Australia's interior faces even harsher extremes. Temperatures are rising faster than the global average, droughts are intensifying, and bushfires now burn with terrifying frequency. Some scientists warn that entire inland towns could disappear in the coming decades as water scarcity grows. But new technologies might flip the script. Renewable energy projects, like massive solar farms in the outback, could turn Australia's vast empty spaces into global energy hubs. Some experts even imagine solar cities, powered by endless sunlight, feeding electricity to Asia. Fact 9. Harsh natural disasters keep people away. Australia's interior isn't just dry, it's dangerous. Bushfires sweep across forests and grasslands every year, sometimes destroying millions of hectares at once. For example, in 2019 to 2020, fires burned over 17 million hectares, an area larger than England. Add extreme heat, dust storms, and occasional floods, and you get a place that's unpredictable and risky. That's why most Australians choose to stay near the coasts, where the climate is milder and emergency services are accessible. Australia is a land of contrasts. It's huge but quiet, rich in nature but harsh to live in. It's a place where people gather near the sea, while the middle of the country stays almost untouched. For hundreds of years, people have tried to settle its heart, farmers, miners, and explorers. But few have stayed for long. Maybe Australia was never meant to be fully taken over. Maybe it was meant to remind us how powerful nature still is. Its emptiness isn't a weakness, it's what makes it special. While the rest of the world grows crowded and noisy, Australia still has space, silence, and freedom. So next time you look at a satellite map of the Earth at night and you see that dark patch in the southern hemisphere, that's not an empty space. That's Australia, standing wild and proud. Thank you for watching GeoMap Unveiled, where we turn maps into stories and lands into legends. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and tell us in the comments. Would you rather live in the wide, open outback, or along Australia's beautiful coasts where most people are?